We're going live, and I'm going to switch to the default scene for 1 second. Welcome to the Podcasters Lounge. Yeah, I should have had a Barry clip on this page, but I don't. Well, welcome everyone to the Podcasters Lounge. I can't believe we're here. We do this every Wednesday. And let me fade that out just a little. But we're going to go... two guys are here with me, and we're going to go over all the topics that we're going to talk about. And, well, first, let me introduce these guys real quick. Look at this. Oh, and see the here we go. I'm moving your names around.
Should I be watching this on Skype or on Twitch?
Oh, on Skype. And hold on, I'll share the share screen. Share screen.
Because the other thing is, how do I join the chat in Skype? I mean, on Twitch.
What do you mean? How do you join the? You gotta be looking at Twitch.
Ah, okay.
And then you can, but just make sure you mute that audio. So welcome, look at this. I got the names right on the screen and everything. I think this is Ralph M. Rivera. Look at him. He's all serious. He's getting into this. Ralph M. Rivera. Oh, I missed your M. Why don't I have the M in your?
Yeah, that's not me.
This is terrible. And also Steve Stewart. What's up, man? Look at him with the Podcast Engineering School shirt.
Rocking it.
Yes. Of course, Steve heads up the Podcast Editors Club Facebook group, and you also have a few shows. I'm going to ask you guys to introduce yourselves in a second, but real quick, I'm going to go over real quick everything we're going to talk about today, and just it's a sort of a special Podcast Editors Club lounge because we're going to be able to, like, Podcast Editors Club members are going to be able to ask questions, and so Steve and I can answer. All right, so that's me. That's the scene with me, and desktop with guests. Look at this, man! Look at how high tech this is. Wait,
lovely.
No, wait, hold on. That's better. And wait, hold on. The chat. Oh yeah, all right. So just so you know, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, this is all brought to you by Podcast Engineering School, which these two gentlemen are graduates of, and yeah, Podcast Engineering School. I finally bought the Soothe plugin. I'm going to tell you about that. I finally bought the 416. Rode released their pod mic. I think was it today or yesterday. Bandrew Scott from Podcastage is going to do a review of that Rodecaster Pro, the new Rode podcast studio. Broken Record. I've been listening to this one episode over and over. I'll tell you about it. And Blueberry is now certified IAB compliant. That's news. Remote audio data is here. We're going to talk about what that is, and it's so funny because I don't think anybody likes it anyway, except NPR. All right, Patreon. Ugh. That's all. That's it. That might be all the whole story about Patreon. Do ratings and reviews help get you featured in What's Hot? First, someone's gonna have to tell me what that is. What's Hot? Do Credit. It's a podcasting or a weekly email of podcasting industry. Then you got Podcoin. What is that? Well, we're gonna see. Then of course Podfest, which that's their pop up for the email list. All right, enough already. I'm on your email list. Okay, Podfest of course is in March, and Podcast Movement is of course in August. And then you have Stoop. What is Stoop? Interesting. I don't know. All right, we'll find out. Hank Williams. I watched a little documentary on him. Noah. I watched the movie Noah. I'll tell you about that. Homecoming, because Rock from Squadcast in the lounge last week said it was pretty good. I watched it. Me and my wife watched it on Amazon Prime. 10 benefits of drinking tea over coffee. And hold on, I got to start my. Oh wait. No, the tunage.
There you go.
All right, there's a little background tune. So, drinking tea over coffee. We're gonna talk about that. Don't wait for New Year's. Why you should be setting your goals now. And I have a little really interesting thing I'm doing personally for next year. Oh, wait a second. Wait, what happened to Ralph M. Rivera?
I'm here. I'm sneezing.
Oh, okay. No, but anyway, because I only see me and Steve on the bottom now. And anyway, when you come back, I'd be interested to see you. This is the first Podcasters Lounge where we had 2 guests on Skype. So, oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, so it automatically updates. All right, cool. Yeah, Ralph.
I didn't think you wanted to see me blowing my nose.
Well, that's a different kind of show, but yeah. All right.
Keep
so
it
your weekly goals, and Benjamin Calva's here. Where's Barry? That's the question everyone asks.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but that wasn't loud enough, dude.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's it. And of course, Ralph Rivera's here. Barry, see, I'm looking up. See, Ralph, I'm playing like Barry's here. Barry, do you know that Ralph is in the lounge today?
Oh, forget it.
I'm telling you. All right.
I have much giggle.
Jason Bryant's here. Yeah, Jason Bryant, the crazy rabbit from Vegas, baby. And yes, it is Steve Stewart. He is here. So welcome everybody to the chat as more people join. I'm still not through the topics yet. Oh, holiday gifts. Did you send all your holiday gifts? Well, it's December 19th. You probably should have already. Sushi Go. That's a game I just ordered. Mixtape, that's a game that one of my clients gave me.
Ooh.
And Solitaire Chess, it's a game I've been playing. And microwaves are bad for you. It's hard not to use a microwave. I'm gonna tell you about that. And LinkedIn, I wanna know what y'all are doing on LinkedIn. Because I don't know what to do on LinkedIn. And that's it. Google, that's it. So there you have it. Well, now I want to switch back to our 2 handsome guests. Well, now it's one. So Steve Stewart. See, it says Ralph's name's in the middle now, so you know what I mean. Like Ralph's like this.
I'm keeping you on your toes.
I'm not. I'm not really a such an advanced streamer because, like, you know, changing scenes and everything. It's like it's okay, but. So anyway, welcome to the lounge, everybody. B&H has some podcast deals running now too, Jason. Yeah, I
need to spend more money at B&H.
Well, you know, Ralph.
You know how much of my money they've gotten for the past 30 years?
I think I do. Well,
quite a bit.
A lot.
Have you ever shot there in person?
Yes.
It's amazing. I mean, it's truly amazing the way that they have it set up.
Yeah, their mic room, you know, talk about the microphone test drive that I did at a couple of events. They have a microphone room at B&H in Manhattan. There's got to be, what? I'd say 50 microphones. But the problem is, like any other microphone test, you have to wear headphones and talk into it and try to talk and listen at the same time, which is impossible. Because you can't judge a microphone as you're talking and hearing it through headphones because you hear the voice inside your own head, right? Do you ever do that, Steve Stewart?
Voices inside my head.
Do you ever test mics? Try and test a mic real time, Steve?
No, I only got to test them when I see you at Podcast Movement. Otherwise, I'm just using this little guy.
Right. So, Steve Stewart, you started the Podcast Editors Club, what, a couple years ago now?
It was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it's just a great community. And I love when somebody asks a question about like microphones or something. You know, something that's kind of relevant to podcasting, but it's not about editing. So Steve comes in the group and just pounds the person.
No, I delete it without any reservation or apologies. I just remove it because it's something we don't talk about. That's what all the other groups are for. We let them talk about microphones and stuff.
Exactly, and that's why I like the group. It's you know, it's for editors and editing and all that stuff. And that's what it is, and you keep it that way. So, by the way, what are you guys drinking? I've already finished my my Monster Rehab, which is lemonade and iced tea. And so now all I have is water.
Yep, just water too.
Drinking agua. So, Steve Stewart, what are the shows, what are the podcasts that you personally host?
I don't host any. I let my my main podcast, I retired it in October 2015. I was going to launch a new show, which I actually did, but I only got 16 episodes in before this whole podcast editing thing became a career, and it just exploded within 6 months, and I had to give the other show up too. So I don't host any right now.
Okay, interesting. I was looking at Jason Bryant, just said that your guys' audio is echoing, so let me see if that helps it.
Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, go ahead. You guys talk. Jason, does that help? Steve, talk.
Yeah, I gotta talk.
Yeah.
A B C D E F G. G
money.
G-Funk in the house.
Much better.
It is better. All right, so I shouldn't send the Skype to QuickTime because I'm already sending it. Oh, okay. All right, so now I got to save this template, this audio hijack template. Let me show you let me show you guys what I'm doing.
This is crazy.
Yeah, so here's the thing. This is audio hijack, okay? Now, this is nutty. Like, I can't even show you. Can I control the view? Can I, like... Anyway, I don't know how to make it smaller, but anyway, this is my mic. This is Barry.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then I have Reaper, RX7, Skype, and Twisted Wave. And then I have Chrome. Then I have Pretzel. I have Zoom, which we're not using. And I have the system audio, which isn't... I'm not using that either. But here's the point. See, Skype is coming here. It's coming here. It's going over here. And now I'm sending it to... Well, here's the record. If I wanted to record it, I could right here. But I'm sending it... I was sending it to QuickTime, which I know it's the wrong label, but to QuickTime is actually the audio feed that I'm sending out to the stream. So what's happening is I had this on, so it was sending the Skype audio to QuickTime, which really is going out on the stream. And so, but Ecamm already sends the Skype audio out the stream automatically. So I was adding another, like a little slightly delayed one out, and that's why you were hearing it doubled. So now I just got to remember when I stream, I can't have this on.
So can we go back and edit that out, or do we have to start over again?
We gotta start over. There's no starting over.
There's no activity, no giggle, no nothing.
That's it. Jason Bryant has the body of a Greek dog. Oh man. Hey, Brian Ensminger's here. What's up, man? Engaging Missions. That's his show. He's of course part of the Podcast Editors Club.
He's also a graduate of Podcast Engineering
Also
School.
a graduate of Podcast Engineering School. Wow.
But not Podcast Engineer Academy.
Oh, I know. People are like... Yet. Oh, my God. Well, the thing is, Ralph M. Rivera, who, of course, you don't see him on screen because he's too sexy for this stream. That's actually what's happening. But Bandrew should be here too. But anyway, that's why Ralph's name is in the middle of the screen right now, because when he turns on his camera, he'll show up there. But Ralph's kind of a lurker anyway. Anyway, Ralph is going to have a lot of big announcements soon. So Steve Stewart, we had a lot of...
I'm finally having the surgery.
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry, you were talking about something else?
Barry's here, of course. Barry, what is Ralph going to need in order to, feel more like a man?
You're gonna need a couple of horses or a couple of mules.
Okay. So, well, we got to get into all our topics, but Steve Stewart, I know you sent me in Skype, which I'm going to look in Skype right now. I'm going to leave us on the screen, and I'm going to look in Skype because you had sent me some questions from folks in the Podcast Editors Club. Which, how do I see the?
I've got them here too. If you want me to read through them or anything.
Yeah, but how do I?
Hey, can someone clear something up for me?
Yes, sir.
What's a podcast?
Mr. Invisible. Who's that talking? I don't see anybody. And Ralph, you have like the background, like the nice Christmas background too.
I know.
It's crazy.
I'm one of Santa's elves.
All right. Anyway, Steve, if you have those questions, let's do them.
Absolutely. Dave Solomon asked, what inspires me to keep inspiring others? And I don't really know that I inspire other people other than just to make sure that whatever, and I'm talking specifically within the Facebook group, the Podcast Editors Club, because that's really where I communicate mostly with people in this industry. There are other Facebook groups. We're talking specifically with this community. I want to be in there because I want to help other people improve the podcasts of other people. So kind of like that second or third stage away from making somebody's show sound better. So if I can help somebody make their show better just by all the communications, all the conversations we're having in the group about how do I fix this problem, how do I address this issue, I just love that. It just charges me up. I feel like I'm doing something worthwhile, not just serving my own clients, but helping other people grow their business as well.
That's
and what about you, Chris? What makes you keep doing what you're doing?
Well, I just love audio. I mean, I really like when I have to produce a podcast episode, let's say, and I have to, download the files and clean them up and make them sound good. Like that process, I just really enjoy that. And I have fun with it too. Like I don't just do the same thing to the audio every time. Like I'm one of those nutcases that just every piece of audio, I'm like, I have to listen. I mess around with the EQ. I mean, I mess with everything, right? I tweak and hone everything. So I just like working on the audio. I mean, and so
you care less about the client. You just like the audio.
Well, loving the audio is what allows me to do it long term, obviously. Yeah. Of course I love my clients. I mean, and what's great too is that, if you have clients and you approach them and you treat them the right way and you develop a relationship in the right way, then they will trust you and they will listen to you. And so if they are doing something wrong, you have to tell them, and then they listen and they change it. And so that's how I deal with my clients. I would never take on a client who just sent me crappy audio all the time and says like, here, do what, do your magic. Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, you have anyone like that, Steve?
I was going to say, I remember you saying inside one of the sessions of Podcast Engineering School about what you charge. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. But then I realized that you're serving a different type of client than I am. I'm serving the individual who does most of their stuff on their own, and they send me the audio, where you're actually scheduling, you're connecting people, you're sitting down, you're actually capturing the audio for them. You're full service, even though most of it's virtual. And that puts you in a completely different, I don't know what to say here, a different service, completely different service. Exactly. Right. And that's why you can, because you are doing more work. If you think about hourly rate doesn't really matter. When you talk about the service you're providing, I mean, it's completely, you're taking your customer in your hands and you're just letting them do their thing, and you're doing all the work for them. They just have to come up and talk, right?
Right. So Daniel is here. Daniel Abendroth, and also Ross is here from Livestream Universe. Ralph is here. Oh, Ralph's here. He's there. He's here. He's both. Mike Wilkerson. What's up, Mike Wilkerson? Yes.
Mike Wilkerson from the Two Guys Talking Podcast Network.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude's got like 50 some odd shows on his network. It's crazy.
Oh, really? Well, we might just have to take a look at that.
Well, you want to see something? This is okay. So I'm going to send you to another webpage. I want you to go to. This is something else he does that nobody else does.
Which
go
one?
to podcastbug.com. This is his thing. Look at that.
Oh, dude! I've met you, I think, and I've definitely seen the bug at events.
We had shipped this thing down to FinCon in Dallas and actually recorded podcasts out of it during the expo. It was amazing.
Ship it! You gotta drive that thing! Come on!
Dude, it's a classic. You don't drive that thing, from St. Louis to Dallas. But yeah, he's got, go back to his other webpage. I mean, he's got tons of shows. It's amazing.
Oh, the Two Guys Talking Podcast Network. Cool.
Tons of shows.
Well, where's our podcast? Ooh, I like that.
A lot of the shows I'd say a lot of them are fan-based shows, but then you've got movie reviews. I don't know. It's really all over the place. I shouldn't try to describe it because it's all over the place. He's got a lot of stuff going on there. Yep. Anyway, cool. That's Mike Wilkerson.
Mike Wilkerson in the house. He will drive it up to 400 miles, he says. Dude. That'll be a podcast in itself, driving the mobile podcast studio.
Yeah.
So I want to ask Ralph Rivera, what have you been what have you been up to lately, man? Like what are some good stuff you've been listening to? And
podcast engineering school, of course, because that's the best podcast in the universe. I've been listening. I have been not listening to any politics. I just can't. We had this conversation. I've been trying to be a little bit more positive and not focus so much on the politics and stuff. Let's see. Let's go through the list here of what I like. I like WTF. I like Women'splaining. That's what's her name? Jessica Rhodes and Margie Feldhune. They have a new podcast. One of my favorites is Tangentially Speaking. I think you'd like that a lot, Chris.
Oh, really?
With Dr. Chris Ryan. Really, really good podcast. TangentiallySpeaking.com.
All right, I'll check that out.
I did not like the new season of...
Sorry.
I did not like the new season of Serial. Did you catch up on that?
No, I listened to the trailer, and then when they said it was going to be a different, like, they weren't going to stay on one case the whole time. They were going to jump around and all different. And then I was like, that's it. I don't want to hear it. I mean, I didn't even listen to any of it.
So, Chris, what's going on with your other podcasts? Are you bringing any of those back?
Brian Ensinger, thanks for showing up, man, from Engaging Missions. Everyone go check out his show called Engaging Missions.
He's got 2 questions for us tonight, too, by the way.
Who, Brian?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he said he has to go. Anyway, you could catch the replay, Brian. So wait, Ralph, what are you talking about, Ralph?
Sorry, I was sneezing. I have a little bit of a cold, ladies and gentlemen, so I apologize that I keep dropping out. Well, you had a bunch of podcasts that you were hosting, and you stopped hosting them, and I don't know if they're coming back.
Which one? Well, Social Media Unscrambled. Is that what you're talking about?
Social Media Unscrambled. There was...
The Mystic Show.
The Mystic Show. There was another one that you did recently where you were recording it on your iPhone. I don't remember the name of that one. Truly...
No, the one I was doing on my phone was an experiment. That was called Most Foolish.
That's it.
Yeah, but I only did like 4 or 5 of them, and then then it was just I gave up. That was a show where I was trying to
you were trying to generate revenue for a meditation center.
Yeah, like my wife and I have this dream of having a lot of land and a retreat center, and that's how we want to live and spend the rest of our time here doing that, right? So, but of course, I don't just want like 5 acres. I want like 2,000 acres. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have it secluded, right? If you're gonna do it right. So anyway, I had this idea. What?
How many horses and mules are you gonna have on the compound?
A lot. I can't find a good clip for that. Anyway, so my idea was with the show is to approach people with money, like millionaires, and try to explain to them what I wanted to do, and maybe they could help me, and not just maybe give me money, but maybe just help me in another way. Like I don't know how, but that is not an easy road to hoe right there. I didn't even get very far, and I'm not like the most assertive person in the world anyway. Like I'm a little sensitive. Like I don't want to go up to like a rich guy's house and knock on the door and say, "Hey, can I talk to you about XYZ?" Because I can't stand the thought of that, right? Bothering somebody, trying to whatever. But some people don't mind, right? They'll just be like, they'll just do anything. So, Josh Jackson is here. What's up, Josh? Live stream keeps crapping out. Hey, Josh, if you're on YouTube, maybe try Twitch or just try refreshing it. Like close the YouTube app and then open it up again.
Josh also submitted a question through the Podcast Editors Club.
All right, well, let's go to his question then. That's a good segue.
Cool. He asks, and I'd like to hear Chris's answer. Actually, both of you. I want to hear you answer this first. If you had one final episode, only one more chance to get a message out to your audience, what would you say?
Yeah, that's a rough one. Well, so I guess for me, what I'd be talking about would be my podcast, which is, as you all know, is the Podcast Engineering Show. If I had one more episode of the Podcast Engineering Show, what would I talk about? I guess
rate and review.
No, I don't know. I mean,
you want to think about it? We can ask Ralph. See what he says.
See, I think.
Well,
go ahead, Ralph.
I need a little bit more context. Is it my last show because I'm retiring? Is it my last show because aliens are invading the planet and they're going to destroy all of mankind? What's the context here?
He just said one final episode, so I don't know what that means. You can make it your own. What do you want it to be? Aliens, zombie apocalypse? What?
I am honestly not that deep. I would probably just say, bye everybody. It's been nice knowing you.
Okay, Chris, save us.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know how to. Anyway, I'm failing with Ecamm, switching with the switcher, but.
I know what Chris would say. Chris would say, "We're all going to a better place, and we'll all see each other there. So see you guys soon."
Yeah, I don't know.
That's beautiful.
Though the Mystic Show, which is my show on spirituality, that it'd be easier to answer that one because there the message would be, do what you can while you're alive and you're able to develop yourself spiritually and dissolve your ego and try to be ready at the moment of death to merge. I mean, so that's that for the Mystic Show.
Go.
For the Podcast Engineering Show, I don't know what it would be. I guess I'd just go over the importance of good sounding audio and
we're all going to be dead. What is the difference? We don't need good sounding audio at that point.
Oh man.
The aliens are destroying the planet.
That's in Ralph's world.
The Borg are assimilating us.
Yes.
What have you been making deals with Elon Musk lately or something?
It's okay. They will retain our biological distinctiveness, so we're fine.
Yeah. I don't know. You all know my feelings on good audio quality. At least good enough. You know what I mean? So, what about you, Steve Stewart?
Well, it's funny because I've actually been thinking about this for about 6 months. I retired the Money Plan SOS podcast at episode 200. And I have this entire library of content that's sitting there, and it's going to stay there for a while. I thought, okay, there's people who are finding the show still, and what they're going to listen to is the final episode, right? But the final episode wasn't like a farewell. It wasn't anything more than another type of episode. So I'm going to come out with a top 40 best of type of, the top 40 best, Money Plan SOS podcast episodes to recap what that entire library has, but to point new subscribers or new listeners down to at least a few that they should be interested in.
Yep,
so it's not as good as yours. I can't say that it's as as wonderful or beautiful as what you guys said, but this is that's what I'm working on. I just have to find the time to actually sit down and. I'd love to incorporate snippets from the old ones, but that's just going to be too time consuming. Right. I can't do that. So that's my answer.
Ralph, you're talking. We can't hear you, buddy.
You know what? I'm going to change my answer. The final thing that I would say to everybody is I would recommend that everybody go out and buy a Blue Yeti.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right.
It truly has been assimilated.
I know we have more questions, but I want to talk about this. I bought it. I bought Soothe. It's the new plugin I was trying for a few weeks.
This is the part of the show where I'm going to have to open up my wallet and spend some money, isn't it?
No. You don't need this. This is crazy town.
I got it. Here's my wallet. Take my credit card out now. All right.
Yeah,
how many hundreds do I have to spend now, Chris?
Every time, like I think when Isotope updated from RX6 to RX7, Ralph emailed me. He's like, "Do I really need this?" That was good. The answer is no, but he probably got it anyway.
I still quite don't understand that though, because I saw the demo and I'm not sure why you're so lukewarm on the new version.
No, I'm not lukewarm on the new version. I love Isotope RX is like my favorite program ever. But the what they added from 6 to 7, it's I don't know if it's really necessary for podcast production. So that's all. That's all I was saying. Isotope's my favorite. Are you kidding? Yeah.
All right. So what is this Soothe?
Soothe is sort of like a de-esser. You can think of it that way, although it does act down to the low mid frequencies, 250 and even a little bit lower than 250 hertz. It's just like they call it a dynamic resonance suppressor for mid and high frequencies. So yeah, it just takes like any harsh frequencies, it'll dial it down. But it does it intelligently. So see right here where well, if I showed you, wait, I can even show you. Oh yeah, is it in here? Nope. Let me add it. Specialty, Soothe. So there it is. So now if I actually don't I have a I have a preset 111. Is that what you guys name all your first presets? I do 111, 222, right? But no, like so
use this one.
Default. No, that's not
use
good.
Me.
But if you zoom in, if I zoom in, and this is on my track. See how you could see when I'm talking, it's sort of pulling down a bunch of different frequencies. It's pulling down the frequencies that are a little too resonant or harsh, and then also it doesn't just like, it's not like 2 kilohertz. It'll always pull down 2 kilohertz. It uses like dynamic. It's dynamic, so it might, if 2 kilohertz is a little too loud or resonant, it'll pull it down. But if the next resonant peak is at 3,000 hertz, it'll pull that down. So it keeps following the resonance wherever it is, and it pulls it down and makes it smoother. So, but again, this is not necessary for podcast production, really. I mean, you do need a de-esser, and this is a pretty good de-esser as far as I can tell. But it's expensive. I think it's like $175. So it's not really necessary.
Let me ask you a question. What makes you buy that plugin? Because you've got a lot of plugins. You use a lot of plugins. You're always recommending plugins. I mean, you probably have.
Yeah. So the reason I bought this is, and it's the reason I buy a lot of plugins. A lot of the audio that I produce for podcasts is just pretty terrible audio. It's people on their earbuds and it's just, or on the phone, and it's like, it's just bad audio, and so there ends up being, it's not just sibilance, right? It's not just the de-esser that I need. It's like sometimes even in the mids, like 1 or 2 kilohertz, like there's just these peaks that like, it feels like the speaker, the audio's coming out of the speakers and like punching me in the face, and it's like harsh. I kind of squint, And so I guess I could bring a de-esser down there, but this is something that more intelligently will reduce that harshness. So that's the only reason I got it.
So is the value there? Because I typically don't like the term like expensive versus inexpensive, because if this product is giving you better value than all those other de-essers, then it seems to me that for someone like you, that's well worth the money.
Well, for me, I think it is, because I know I can mess with it and I know more of what I'm hearing than the average person. But again, for anyone else, I wouldn't really recommend it.
Let me ask you another question. This comes up quite often on the Podcast Engineering Show, which is there seems to be two camps. One camp says you buy a really good plugin. By the way, Chris, that music is just killing me. Can we lower that a little bit?
Oh, maybe it's a little loud through here.
Oh, much better.
Wait a minute. But hold on, because that's going to the stream. What I need to do is, oh my God, can I do it live?
We'll do it live!
We'll do it live! Watch this. I'm going to move this right in between here. Should I do that or no? All right. See, this is where... Is that okay, Ralph?
It sounds the same to me. That adjustment didn't do anything. Oh, that did it better, yeah.
That turned it off.
Not completely off, yeah.
Yeah, that's low.
Anyway, so some songs through that program are
a little bit more thumpy.
Yeah, some are loud, some are soft. It's a pain in the ass, but
all right, so back to my most important question in the world.
Yes.
So there seems to be two camps, two spheres of thought that come up in podcast engineering school. One camp says you buy the best plugin you can for a particular function, and you learn that plugin as best as possible. On the other side, you have people who say, well, you buy a bunch of different plugins, and then you kind of bounce back and forth between different plugins to accomplish different things. So I see value on both sides. So where are you falling now that you're spending your wife's retirement money on these plugins?
See, I'm not the average person, though. I mean, and I don't...
but I'm talking about podcast engineers. I'm talking about producers, engineers.
Look, if someone's really into audio like me, like I like having the right tools for the job, and so I'm gonna get them. And you know, is the screen flickering? Do you guys see the screen flickering?
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
What is that?
I thought it was the Borg.
It's the internet.
It might be. It only started doing it when you went into Reaper, so it might be just a function of Reaper refreshing.
All right, let's see if it flickers there. No, my I see. That's not a good question. It comes down to the individual.
What?
If anyone is producing podcasts and they like what they're doing and they feel comfortable, that's all they need. But if you feel if you have the money to buy good plugins and you feel you want more control, then go do it. To me, it's just that simple. It's not. I don't know how to answer that question besides that. I mean, I'm not telling everyone to go out and spend a lot of money because you don't need to.
Except me.
Well, you spend a lot of money because you love it. You're a technical-minded person like me, and you like it. And you have the means to do it.
I think here's where I'm going to fall on this, Chris. I think when you get started, it's probably best to stick to a lower number of plugins until you're good at them. Because I think that once you start expanding your plugin library, if you're not good at one of them and you don't work at becoming good at one of them, you're not going to become good at the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth. You have to, it's kind of like weightlifting. You have to build that muscle up. So I think that people who own a ton of plugins and they're not good at any of them, that's probably the catastrophic scenario there.
Yeah, and in everything you just said is included in the fact that if someone's producing audio and they want to do more stuff, I say go do it. Even if you're not ready. I mean, why not? If you want to do it, go ahead. Right? If you want to get nutty, if you want to spend a lot of money on plugins and figure everything out, go ahead. Nothing wrong with that. You know, it's going to take you a while to get the hang of it and get good at it, but that's fine. Go ahead. You can do it.
I think the problem here is that there's so many variables because there's so many different mics, there's so many different ways to record, there's so many different voices that no one thing can work for all people. And I know, Chris, you try them all, so you're kind of like the Pat Flynn of testing audio plugins for podcasting. For me, I try to keep it simple, kind of like what Ralph was talking about. And now I've spent a lot of money on RX6. I got the RX6 Advanced, but I'll tell you I've had this question before too, and I think it might be worth explaining it here. People ask, what do you get out of RX6, RX7? Now, I haven't seen what features are in RX7 compared to what came with RX6, and I think they've changed. But I started out with that $29 special for RX6 Elements. That's just the basic one. Then I found there was something in the standard version, which was a couple $100 more. I can see right now the standard version of RX7 is actually it's on sale for $300. It's normally $400. That had some features in there that greatly improved my speed of how I edit it because it took care of some things that I had to do manually. But then I went with Advanced because I had a feature, and I spent another, $400, $500, $600 for that for another feature or two. So it didn't greatly improve my editing ability. It just improved the quality of what I did. And then thanks to Chris, I bought Shep's Omni-Channel plugin as well. So I'm starting to go into that field as well. But I try to keep my process simple because I can't spend time learning new tools. I have to produce some shows for people. But Chris, I mean, how much time do you think you spend playing with and learning new tools and new plugins?
Hey, Scott Sakura, what's up, man? Welcome to the lounge. What are you drinking? What are you smoking? Cigars, cigarettes. See, I think you brought up a good point, Steven. We got so much news to get through. We're getting into deep topics here, but hey, this is the lounge. We do whatever we want. I like what you said. You're busy. You don't have time to go in and screw around with an EQ for 20 minutes. So then you don't do that, right? You just produce your audio and go on with your life. But there's other people who might not know how to EQ, but they want to go spend an hour and a half messing around with an EQ. So I say go do it. So it really depends on the person, which is what I said before. I started at a different level than most people who are in podcasting, because when I produce audio, I hear things that most people don't hear. And so for me to EQ and use compression and to process one person's voice, I can snap it together quick, probably in 3 or 4 minutes. I can make my initial judgments, set my gain staging, put my compression, and it's okay. It's in the ballpark. And then I continue producing other stuff. And then as I go, I'm going back to that voice and I'll tweak it a little. And then I'll keep going for like 5-10 minutes. Then I'll go back to that voice, a different voice. I'll tweak that a little. So I mix it like that. And then by the end, I've tweaked each one, several times or many times. And then I just render the episode. So that's how I do it.
So
by the way, I should probably point out at this point that every time Chris says gain staging, we should all take a shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, at the level that you're at now, with all the history and the experience you have, how much time do you spend learning new tools that pertain to podcast production?
Not that much, but the Soothe is a good example, because I heard about it on YouTube, and then I watched a couple of videos on it, and then I tried it. You get a 2-week free trial on that Soothe plugin. If anybody wants to try it, you can get the full version for a couple weeks. And then I got it and I tried it, and I didn't even try it as much as I want. Like, I didn't put it through the full ringer that I wanted to put it through. I just did what I could, and I heard the difference, and I see what it could do. Because really, initially what I'm listening to is the quality of the plugin. Like, is it a high quality plugin or is it like kind of a joke? So Soothe, I think, is definitely a high quality plugin. Some EQs. Yeah.
Who makes that, by the way?
It's a company called Oak Sound. I think they're in Denmark. I'm not sure. So with EQs, I can hear it too. Like if you try an EQ, just add a bunch of low end, and you can hear the quality of that low end. You know, like if you use the Shep 73 and add low end, that's like nice, smooth. Like that's like really nice low end. So you can sort of end up telling the difference between plugins.
So how much time do you think you invested in learning about Smooth before you bought it? 2 hours?
No.
Less than that? More than that?
Probably an hour.
Okay, cool. It's just interesting to learn because you said you found out about it on YouTube, so I'm sure there's some tutorials there.
Oh, yeah.
And you downloaded the Pro. So about an hour, and you decided this was worth spending $100 and whatever it was.
Yeah.
Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah, and it's and because I also think there's more ways I can use it, which I haven't even gotten into yet. So
you really
look at the other one, Spiff?
I didn't look at the other one. That one didn't interest me as much. Mike Wilkerson, yes. Rick Beato, I love Rick Beato and his YouTube channel, and Rick, he has a great YouTube channel, and he really gets in depth in a lot of things too, which is awesome. Yeah, he's a pro. He's a pro. Sandy DeWald is here.
Yeah,
Sandy's in the house.
Sandy.
And who? Wait, who is La Mansión del Inglés? I think you've been here
probably,
for.
Is that Craig? That's not Craig. No.
I don't know, but this is one great lounge, if I must say so myself.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
Wow.
All right, let's get to the news.
You guys want game show music? Oh, hey. Yeah, let's get to
Craig. Craig's in the house.
Oh, it is Craig. What's up, Craig?
Craig Wieland, another graduate of podcast
some English house dude.
School.
So so thank you all for being here. Really, we're happy to have you in the lounge. Happy you can chat. Of course, I have Ralph M. Rivera here. He's missing his M today. So, what's your middle name? Marco Polo? What is it?
It's Chris Curran.
Oh, it's
Ralph Chris Curran Rivera.
And I haven't seen a few regulars in the lounge, but hello to you guys. Heather from New Zealand and Bandrew, Mr. Podcastage. All right, let's get to the news. Yeah. Wait, why is it? Oh. So, if you look on the screen now, oh, you know what? Watch this. Ready? Oh, it's over here.
He has it. The unboxing live.
This is so weird to do it. This looks good. This looks like there's drugs in it, doesn't it? Ralph, what did you put in here? There it is.
It looks like a sex toy.
Okay, terrific. All right. Well, here it is. This is the, you could probably see it. This is the MKH 416 shotgun microphone. It's so weird trying to look at it and show you guys.
Why is this important?
Because the 416 is a renowned microphone of insane quality that's used in a lot of voiceovers and a lot of movie production and TV shows. And I might start streaming with it. Today I'm still using my RE20 because the little shock mount mic holder for the 416 is coming tomorrow. So.
And you would recommend this to the average podcaster because...
Oh, no. This is another thing that the average podcaster is never going to even touch.
So they should stick with the Blue Yeti.
Yes. Oh, yes. Always. Always. And keep it in Omni mode, even if it's only you. Okay? Mike Wilkerson. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to use that as my regular mic. thing is, with this RE20, this is the vintage RE20 from the 80s, I think, or at least before the 90s, it's hard to touch this mic, and especially the way I use it when I do podcasts, because I bring it even a lot closer than I am right now, so you get that full sound, the proximity effect. 416 is awesome, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to use it, except for going on location and stuff. I'm definitely going to use it for that. Yeah, cell phone
Chris,
with no ear pods.
What are your top 3 podcasting mics? Just general purpose podcasting mics.
I would say
pull them up there on BSW.
Oh, I would say
top 3. Well, I guess top 2 since you're going to throw in the Blue Yeti.
I'm going to show you one that I really like, and actually it's Dave Jackson is using it now. It's the RE320. It's such a clear and really good microphone. So I don't know what's up with BSW's website today. It's taking forever, literally.
Yeah, I'm actually going to buy one of those, the RE320s. I don't like the Heil PR40.
320 is really good. 320 is a little brighter. It has a lot more clarity. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's a great mic. It has a very high output. So the RE320, I would say the SM7B, you still got to put it up there. Do they have a picture of it without the big thing on it? No. Anyway, yeah, the SM7B is still, just a great mic, and if you pair a FET head with that, then you're golden.
What is a FET head?
A FET head is I'll show you a FET head. FET head is from Triton Audio. It gives you 27 dB of clean gain before you even get to the mic preamp. So you plug your mic into here, and then you plug this into your preamp, and it gives you 27 dB of clean gain, and then your mic preamp doesn't have to work as hard. Because the problem with the where is it? The problem with the SM7B, yeah, see, that's the classic picture. The problem with this mic is that it has pretty low output.
Yeah, so the Heil does too.
Yeah,
the Heil has low output too.
Yeah, I always find myself having to really crank the gain to get any kind of reasonable sound out of it.
Interesting, yeah. And if I had to pick a third podcasting microphone, oh god. RE20 is really good. Again, it's a little more on the expensive side. I wouldn't say expensive, but $450. See, that's the thing. It's like there's a point when every podcaster, you start out the way you got to start out, right? You should start with like the minimum viable stuff, right? Which is just, probably an ATR 2100, right? Don't use your earbuds or nothing, and just get a sound that's good enough. But when someone's ready to really step it up and actually sound really good and professional, then you'd be looking at these mics, right? Speaking of mics,
I actually agree with that. Yeah.
Look at this, the pod mic. This is brand new. Do we have any brand new music? No, we have the game show. We have a huge crowd. We have an atomic bomb. This might be loud. All right. I should play that whenever Ralph joins the stream.
So this is new to me. I've never heard of this one. The Rode
brand new, right?
Pod mic.
No one has. Like literally today or yesterday, they released it. So the Rode also just released the Rodecaster Pro.
Right.
I almost bought one of those
about
ones.
Yeah, this is a really cool item. The only problem is for us audio people, it doesn't record in multi-track. It mixes everything down to a stereo mix or mono mix, whichever you want.
Yeah. I'm shocked they would even produce that.
Well, who knows? Maybe they can do a little software upgrade in the future to make that happen. I don't know. Probably not. But Okay, maybe they can. I don't know. So anyway, this is been out for a couple weeks now. Everyone's over the moon about it, and look, it sounds pretty good. I haven't heard it yet, but Bandrew Scott from Podcastage is gonna. He has one as we speak. He has one, and he's doing a video review on it. So look for his video review of the Rodecaster Pro. That's what this is called. And then today or yesterday they just released this pod mic, and apparently it's built for podcasting. It is a dynamic mic, so that's good, meaning it's not, like a Blue Yeti that's going to pick up your neighbor's cat meowing. I meant that in the nicest way possible. But yeah, no, see, where's the picture? They show it. There you go. There's your Rodecaster Pro, and here's the pod mic, and okay, I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how it sounds. I don't know if it's good. We'll have to wait until some people start trying it.
Price?
Here's the specs on it, by the way. Look, normal dynamic mic specs. Although it only goes up to 13K, which is, a little bit interesting. I wonder what the SM7B goes up to.
Everybody in the chat says it's $599.
What?
I'd be shocked. Is it really?
That's what they're saying.
That's actually pretty shocking to me.
I believe the Hive Mind.
Newly released. Doesn't say. Oh, coming soon to here. But I wanted to see the.
Hey, if anybody has it in the chat room, a link to that microphone with the pricing on it, post it.
Yeah, you can actually. That's a good idea. You could actually post it. Specs. Well, see, 20K. It doesn't go to 20K. Oh God, why do they do that? Why don't they just all put from 0 hertz to 1,000,000 hertz? Idiots.
Just
don't
say
they know
all.
Yeah, frequency range.
All.
All.
Well, if the Borg are using it, it might.
Jeez. Anyway.
Okay. So it looks like the unit you're talking that's $599, but we're talking about the mic. The mic is $105 on the pre-order, according to Zalox.
105. Oh, that's Anthony, right? Zylox, I think, is Anthony, if I remembered right. Anthony, let me know if I remembered right. But wait, it doesn't say you can buy it?
Because if that's a reasonably decent mic, I'd consider buying it just because of the form factor, because we do a lot of traveling, and having a small mic like that would be real nice to carry around.
Oh, well, it's fairly small, and the other thing, too, it says it has a built-in pop filter, but here's the thing. A lot of mics say that. Even the RE20. Right. RE20 has a built-in pop filter, but you need a pop filter on it. So I'm wondering what kind of pop filter is built into this mic, because that's important. Because if it has a little internal pop filter that doesn't really do much, kind of like an RE20, well, I mean, the RE20 one helps a little, but it doesn't do the complete job. So if this has a little one inside that doesn't do the complete job, then you're gonna have to put a piece of foam over this, or get a windscreen or something.
So is this thing not for sale yet? I can't really find it anywhere.
Yeah,
yet.
I don't know. I can't find it either. So anyway, yeah, the Rodecaster Pro is $599, which is, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Steve Stewart, the ambassador for the average man or average woman. What do you say about a $599 price point, bro?
For the average person, if they have more than 2 people in the same room, yes, maybe go for that. Because you could buy a $150 Behringer mixer and then some kind of an output device and
don't buy
get
Behringer.
A lot more for that.
Excuse me.
Well, what do you want to say? The Mix Pre, what is it? The Mix, I got one here. The Asus something?
No, Behringer's okay, but just...
Multi-Mix 4, that's it.
Yeah, Behringer's okay.
What I'm saying is you're not getting much more for the price. I mean, it looks like the Rode's really nice. And it's got the built-in buttons to set up with you can have your jingles there and things like that. So that's very cool. But we can do a lot of that in post-production as well. So if you're recording more than a couple people in the same room, then yeah, maybe this is worth looking at for me. I don't like that it's, not multi-channel, but if they're in the same room, you're going to get some mic bleed anyway.
Josh Pound.
I have an answer, by the way.
What's up, Josh?
The Rode Pod mic is $149, but it's got a special introductory price of $99.
Okay.
All right.
Not bad.
Interesting.
That might not be bad for a Rode mic. I mean, to be on the road, not like Rode the brand.
Yeah, I would be careful. I mean, I would definitely wait till some people get it and talk about it before, or if you want to get it or anybody wants to get it, just be ready to return it, because when new stuff comes out, like in the back of our minds, we're like hoping it could be what we really want, but usually it's not. So just be careful with that. And Mike Wilkerson, is saying that if you don't point it at you, lots of mics. Yeah, so there's something to be said for proximity effect, Mike, because like I said, when I do my podcast, I'm literally, my lips are literally an inch away from my mic because I want to be that close, because it adds such a beefiness to my voice. It really does.
Beefcake.
Yes. Brutus Beefcake. So thing is, to get that proximity effect, you got to be right close, and in that case, then you got to have proper windscreen or pop filter, whatever. So you don't have to. Brandon Gonzalez, dude, where's my 416? Dude, where's my car? It's right here. Oh wait, you can't see it. Hold on. Oh yeah. It's like my newborn baby in a little basket. Like, oh, here's my baby. No, but it is
You know what
awesome.
you could do, Chris? You could return that microphone and buy 10 pod mics.
I could. And is that better? What if I set up all 10 right in front of me? Hey, by the way, I have the you've all heard of the what is it? The 835. Is it the 835? 8035. This is the mic that see how the music has been so low the whole time?
I love it.
I'm gonna put it up to 2% though.
I like hearing your sexy voice.
Hey now. Wait, I gotta get a new Barry clip up. Barry, what do you think about Ralph Rivera's appearance in the Podcasters Lounge?
It's a mess.
So this is the
Barry.
Audio Technica 8035. This is the shotgun mic that Alex Bloomberg from Gimlet recommends for going out and doing interviews, and it costs, what does it cost? About $269. This is very similar. It's actually longer than the 416. The 416 is did I have it up here somewhere? Oh, I did. Oh, I had it here. Because I actually did buy it from BSW with this they still have it. It's a $200 instant rebate. So instead of paying $9.99, you'll pay $7.99. So wow, BSW is just choking today. See, use this code Santa Joe. So the Sennheiser MKH 416 is a little shorter than this. Oh, you guys aren't seeing this. What the F?
No, we can see it.
No, you can, but they can't.
Oh.
So this is the Audio Technica 8035. This is the one that Alex Bloomberg recommends and all that. And Craig's punching out. Oh.
Yeah, it's only 2 a.m. for him?
So when he uses this, he just uses one mic and he goes back and forth, or does he use one mic per subject?
No, one mic. He holds it in his hand, then he points it at himself, then he points it at the person. A lot of news reporters do it that way. But this mic here again is $270, and the 416 is $1,000, but now you can get it for $200 off. I ate almost not the first thing I did. I just plugged in my 416 and I was playing with it. Then I did a test A-Bing these two mics, and I was like sort of hoping that there would be a difference, because I thought this 8035 is really good. Like what I've done with it, from Philly, from Podcast Movement, I broadcasted live from there with this mic. Sounded really good. And let me tell you something. I put the AT8035 up against the 416. Wasn't even close, man. Dude, the 416 is just redonkulously clear and present, and it's almost like the 8035. It's almost like you like wrapped it up in foam or something and recorded. That just the 416 is just, I mean, there's a reason that it costs this much. There's a reason that every movie and TV show in the world probably uses this mic. So anyhow,
so you would recommend this as a man on the street type of microphone?
Well, this is overkill for anything to do with podcasting. Although if you were going to do man on the street and you wanted a really good mic, then you could use this.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm wondering why we're talking about this in Podcasters Lounge. This isn't really for podcasters.
Because this is the lounge.
Well, what are we talking about podcasting then instead of mics? Let's talk about podcasting.
This is a Podcasters Lounge. We're all podcasters and we're hanging out.
Okay.
That's
we
all.
Talked a lot about mics, and I'm just curious.
Well, because you guys, I don't know. Like this Podcasters Lounge is new, pretty much, and so it's evolving. Like my expertise is more technical, but I'd be happy to talk marketing the whole time. Like
I want to hear about Rad.
Well, that's coming up. That's on our list. So. No, like there's no rules here, Steve. It's not like your Facebook group where you're gonna just lay the effing hammer down.
That's right.
This is just a lounge, man. This is just we're hanging out, drinking water. Why is everyone drinking water?
All right, I'm calling it here. Next topic.
All right,
I'm facilitating.
Close the tab.
I'm acting as the facilitator.
All right, podcastage. All right, Broken Record. The Broken Record is a really cool podcast made by Malcolm Gladwell and Rick Rubin, and this episode here, which they don't number their episodes, by the way. Thanks, guys. Anyway, this Nashville Revolution episode, I talked about it last week because I listened to this episode 4 or 5 times in like 3 days, and that was last week. And I can honestly say I've listened to at least parts of this episode every day since then. Mostly now it's just the songs that they were playing on here because they were interviewing few of the Nashville songwriters from the 70s and early 80s, and it's just a phenomenal episode. Like as a recording guy, I just loved it, but done really well too.
I have a beef with this podcast.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that has evolved in terms of interview style, and they do this, and it's something that really annoys me when it happens. So during the interview, Malcolm Gladwell will say something like, "So Chris, then you started podcast engineering school," and then you would say, "I started podcast engineering school," and then he would repeat it. "You started podcast engineering school," and he does that constantly throughout this podcast. And John Oliver actually has a bit on his show on Sunday nights where it's called "And Now," where they just have interviewers who prime their interviewee to say something, and then they repeat it. So the exact same thing gets said 3 times. So it's like, I don't know when that style of interview happened, but it's very, very distracting that he does that all the time.
See, I just heard you explain it, and I really didn't. I guess I understood what you explained, but I didn't hear it, and I really don't know what you're talking about. So maybe I didn't care. Maybe because I was so interested in what they were saying and talking about that I didn't care.
Yeah, maybe. Just it's very distracting when that happens several times on a single episode. Your 30-minute episode turns into a 45-minute episode because everybody keeps repeating each other.
Dude, I didn't hear that, dude. And I don't know what episode you're talking about, because on this show, Broken Record, like every other episode he has this other guy doing the interviews. And those episodes are completely different because Malcolm Gladwell introduces the episode, but then it's like Joe Smith, the guy helping him, who's doing the interview, and I don't like those as much.
Well, he did one with Rick Rubin where he was talking to Rick Rubin, and he was doing that quite a bit.
Okay.
That would be the 3rd episode, it looks like.
Right? I heard that one too, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I love his other podcast. The can't think of the name of it. What's the name of it?
Oh, Revisionist History.
Revisionist History, yeah, great podcast.
Which, by the way, I want to talk to you about that.
All right.
I have a question. Okay, Revisionist History is his podcast. It's been around for, I don't know, maybe, has it been around a couple years, maybe a year and a half, something like that? Got some traction. He did a season or two. Oh, look, it's 3 seasons. Okay, fine. But if you look at, you know what? I'm going to look at, he's doing what a lot of people do, which is, now that he started a new show, he's putting out all the episodes of Broken Record.
Yeah.
He's putting them out on his Revisionist History feed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, a lot of
Cross
podcasts
promote.
are doing that now.
Well, what do you guys
Gimlet
think of that?
does
Because look, Revisionist History obviously probably has like way many subscribers than a new show called Broken Record, right?
Yeah.
So I understand why he's doing it, but you guys okay with that?
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Okay.
Gimlet is one of those shops where I listen to quite a few of their podcasts, and I would never have known about some of them if I hadn't heard it cross-promoted with another podcast. And at the end of the day, if it's a topic that I don't want to hear about, like, for example, Science Versus, they did a cross-promotion where they did an episode about a new podcast about children's teeth, good teeth hygiene or something like that. And I had no interest in it, so I just skipped that episode. But I think it's a good idea. I mean, first of all, assuming that the quality of the content is consistent with what you're used to. In other words, if the content was in terms of quality significantly lower than Revisionist History, then of course that's a problem. But if it's the same or better in terms of the caliber of the quality, I don't have a problem with it.
See,
I would say
Go ahead,
it's
Steve.
okay to a point, because if you're going to do the entire season in a different feed, that just doesn't make sense to me. But if you're going to give
I
people a
agree.
taste, then even if it's a full episode or 2, that's fine by me. It's just when you get to be where I'm listening to an entire series of a show that has nothing to do with the podcast I actually subscribe to, guess what I'm doing next? I'm hitting the unsubscribe button and I'm never coming back.
well, so he
Are they?
so
Is
far
that
he's-
what they're doing here, Chris?
so
And
so
they're
far
actually having
he's put out four Broken Record episodes in his Revisionist History feed, and I just looked real quick. It looks like the ones that Malcolm Gladwell performed the interview, those are the ones he included here. That when Joe Smith, the other guy, and I'm sorry, Joe Smith, you're a perfectly good guy, I just forgot your name. But when the other host of Broken Record does the interview, looks like he's not including them in his Revisionist History feed. But so far, there's 4 episodes, and it's been since the first one was November 5th. So now we're we'll be coming up on 2 months soon, where he's only putting Broken Record episodes in his Revisionist History feed. I don't have a big problem with it. I just think it's interesting, and I mean, I'm not going to
It's
unsubscribe
marketing.
from Revisionist History because it's a good show.
It's marketing.
Yeah, it's marketing.
It's another form of publicity for the show.
All right, Blueberry Podcast Stats are certified IAB compliant.
Coming.
Steve Stewart, do you care?
Not too much. I'm just happy that it's finally here. We've been talking about it or hearing about it for over a year now.
Right.
And it's to say that everybody's going to be on the same page as far as how podcast consumption is measured. I'm all about it.
All right, Josh Pound sounds like a broken record. Oh, I hope we're not going too slow for you, Josh Pound, or saying the same thing over and over, saying the same thing over and over, saying the same thing over and over. Okay. All right. So anyway, IAB is
I'm unsubscribe.
unsubscribe.
Nah, it ain't gonna happen.
That's right, Barry.
I can't give you
And
up, Chris Curran.
scientific report from California was saying the same thing.
That's right. Scientific report from California was saying the same thing. All right, let's move on. IAB, yeah, IAB's good, and I'm sure Libsyn's going to be next, right?
Hopefully.
I'm sure they'll do it quickly. All right, Rad. This is what you wanted to talk about, wasn't it, Steve?
Well, I like to hear about it. It's interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but why not?
Yeah, so I don't know tons about it, but I'll give a quick overview. So remote audio data is here. That's the name of this article. So remote audio data is the subject, and that's what RAD stands for. remote audio data, RAD. And so what the general gist, I'm just going to give the general gist because, again, I don't know all the nuances and stuff. But the general gist is, if we look down here, how does RAD work? Podcasters mark within their audio files certain points, like a quartile or some time markers or interview spots or sponsorships, etc., with RAD tags. And that, I guess, is part of the ID3 tag. And indicate an analytics URL. Then a mobile app is configured to read these RAD tags, and when listeners hit those locations in the file, bundle and send anonymized information to that analytics URL. So what happens is now when someone's listening, when they get to a certain point in the episode, when they listen through that point, now there's going to be a little pulse that sends this message back to a server somewhere. And now, because now they can track, each podcast can put a bunch of these tags in, and then you can actually see where are people listening through. And you could put a tag right in the middle of an ad, let's say. Or maybe one in the middle of an ad and one at the very end of an ad, and you can tell if people are listening to the ads, right? And so,
right.
And the other thing I know is that a lot of podcast apps, like I think Pocket Casts and what's the big one on iOS, the really good one?
Overcast. The guys who make those apps have come out and said, no way.
They are not. They will not allow this to be implemented in their app. So
yeah.
Because
what I think is interesting. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say people are worried about their data, right?
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be anonymous. But anyway, Steve, go ahead.
What I think is interesting is there's not a lot of, but it seems like maybe it's just because it's news today. There seems to be a lot of discussion about this to be something that will help advertisers to see if their advertisements are getting listened to. That's very interesting to me because I hate sponsorships and podcasts for unrelated stuff. I mean, if you've got a financial show, why are you pitching stamps.com? It really just doesn't make sense. It should be something within the industry. But that's what a lot of people are looking for, is sponsorships on their shows. So if a sponsor wants to know if their podcast, if the ad is getting listened to, what does that tell you? They're looking for impressions. Are the people hearing our brand name? What I would think they want to measure is, are people clicking on the links and buying our stuff? So what is it the sponsor really wants here? Maybe this is just a small piece of it and we're making a bigger story out of it. But if this is a big deal to sponsors, then really what they're looking for is brand recognition, getting top of mind awareness, hearing my name over and over and over again. That's what they want. So we could use that as podcasters to our advantage, because then we need to go to a sponsor and say, look, we don't know if people are clicking on these links unless you give us some kind of a special promo code, a special URL. But what we can tell you is that people listen and hear your ads. They're listening through, and if we've got some kind of measuring thing like this RAD thing, or if we can see within Apple Podcasts, people listen on iOS devices, you can see if they're actually listening through the advertisement or not. We can use that to our advantage to say, look, we may not be getting you a lot of sales right now, but you're getting a lot of brand recognition. And it takes more than one or two times for someone to hear an advertisement to take any action. Nobody buys on the first time.
Right. Ralph, any thoughts?
Well, it's first of all, every technology improvement in podcasting has to start somewhere. If you parallel this to Netflix, Netflix has its own proprietary platform, and they know down to the second who's watching what and how many times they've seen the movie, and these are all very important metrics for them to make content decisions on, because like anybody else, they're spending money on producing content, and they're also spending money on licensing content. So for podcasters, there's a lot of value in a podcaster knowing that people will only listen to the first 5 minutes of your show, but your average show is 45 minutes. That gives you some very actionable information. And, I'm not going to talk about the advertising, because I think Steve covered that. But it would be great if some of these conversations about metrics and analyzing the behavior of your listenership, if some of it was more centric to the podcaster as opposed to the advertising. Because I think podcasting is still in a place where very few people have enough of listener base that they're going to pull in any kind of advertising. So I think what would be great is to see this evolve to be a benefit to the podcaster, not just a benefit to these ethereal advertisers that have yet to materialize.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, NPR created this, and of course that's the reason they did. It's for advertisers and all that. So they're definitely not thinking about the little guy or how. They're not worried about how the average podcaster can benefit from this, right? They're just worried about ad dollars and yeah. I was actually listening to Ray Ortega's Podcasters Roundtable. I think it was last week. I think they talked about this.
Yeah,
and it was great. By the way, if you don't listen to Podcasters Roundtable, if I can spell. Podcasters Roundtable. I don't know, how often do they do rounds? They call them rounds.
I think it's every couple of weeks.
Every couple of weeks, yeah. Ray Ortega.
But that's the one right there, because I was actually listening to that one today, and that's when they're talking about it.
Okay.
It was somewhere in the middle there, and they're the same thing. They're talking about how the privacy issues, but Dave Jackson came up with a good point. So this information is being collected somewhere, but how do you get that? As the podcaster, it doesn't say anything. I don't know anywhere, and I haven't looked hard enough, but I haven't found a place where we can actually go and find this data to see what the person's listening behavior is, to see if they're listening through the ad or not. So who's controlling the keys? That's my biggest question with this RAD thing, is who's controlling the keys to this?
Right. To me, two things I'll mention. The first is that this is going to run into certainly issues with the European Union and their GDPR rules, because if you are going to be tracking this information, then the listener is going to have to opt in proactively. You can't just collect that data and not tell them that you're collecting it. So that's one thing. The other thing is that to me, it seems like the organizations that should be leading on this should be the media hosts, company like Libsyn. Libsyn is streaming these files. They know what's happening to every bit and byte. And I find it hard to believe that these media hosts, they don't have some kind of metric to know how they're streaming this data, because they're getting the bill at the end of the month. They know how much your file size is. They know how much of it is streamed. They know if people download it, if people don't download it. So that would be a good place to start with this. In terms of streaming, that's not going to help when you're downloading an episode, because the media host is never going to know whether or not you're listening to that episode or re-listening to that episode. They're just going to know that you downloaded it. So as a developer, there's definitely a lot of hurdles here. But I think that at the end of the day, the conversation has to be more about impacting the performance of the podcaster, because then that creates the foundation for being able to provide value to the advertiser.
Yep. Unfortunately, it's never about the little guy, and I can speak for myself. I'm a little guy. So, all right, let's move on. Speaking of little guys getting the shaft, Patreon. This is my comment on Patreon. Yuck. I mean, God, they kicked off a bunch more people off Patreon for stupid reasons. And it's terrible. And Jordan Peterson and a few others are talking about leaving and starting their own thing, and it's like, I mean, it is what it is, and I don't really care either way, but it's
I haven't heard about this.
It's unfortunate.
Who's getting kicked off? Employees, patrons, the people who collect from Patreon?
No, the creators.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
the creators.
This is a very weird conversation, because without knowing who got kicked off and why, and of course the why is going to be very subjective, it's hard to really come up with any kind of conclusion here. I know that some people have been kicked off. I know that some people have been kicked off fairly, and some people seem to have been kicked off unfairly. But I think that for most of the videos that I've seen and most of the content that I've listened to, people who are on, or content creators that are on Patreon, they're fine with it up until the people that they like get kicked off for one reason or another, and then they hate Patreon. So I think that it's a hard conversation to have without knowing who it is that's actually getting kicked off and why, because I know that I fall into that trap where someone gets kicked off and I feel like, well, Patreon's being unfair, and then when you read why they got kicked off, it makes more sense as to why they got kicked off in the first place. And in other cases, like with Sargon of Akkad, that does not seem to be a fair. He does not seem to have been treated fairly when he was booted from the platform. But other people, like I don't remember her name, but there was another journalist that was kicked off recently, and there was a big backlash. But then when you hear the rationale, it seems that it was fair to kick her off. So it seems that there's good stories and there's bad stories when it comes to Patreon. And what I would say to that is that I think Patreon is still trying to find themselves in what they really stand for and what their voice is, because at the end of the day, they just want to make money and stay out of controversy as much as possible. Yeah,
but I think a lot of what people are saying is that it's political, right? Patreon
but we can't go with what people are saying. We have to go with what the facts are, and I think that there's probably some good points and some bad points. People say lots of stuff on the internet, and I don't think we can condemn or condone one way or another without knowing what the total facts are, because everybody has their version of the facts. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It's just hard to condemn a company just because of what people say. For me.
Yeah, well, that's a very I mean, you got to read between the lines sometimes, bro. I mean, you can't just. You're never gonna have enough proof for anything in this life, ever. Anything, ever. You can question anything. Science could tell you that you're breathing oxygen and that's what's keeping you alive. You could debate that and say, prove it to me. And then science could write 9,000 books on how oxygen is keeping you alive, and you could just sit there and say, yeah, well, it's not really proven yet. So I think where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well, we're talking about two different things. You're conflating.
No, we're not actually. We're not. Look at what it says here. Sargon of Akkad, he's been suspended, and now and there's been others, and so then you have Sam Harris said now he's closing his Patreon, and here's Sam Harris explaining why. And Sam Harris is one of the. I mean, whether you agree with his positions or not, he's very intelligent and he's very down to earth and realistic as well. So he's closing his Patreon account. Then you have all these alt-right figures that have been kicked off. Gavin McInnes, who that guy's a weirdo, but Milo, well, they're weirdos, but that's the thing. It's like, just because someone is weird and they have opinions that aren't the same, does that make you is that a reason to kick them off? Now, Patreon's a private company, right? They can do whatever they want. But my point is that it's just. Anyway, I don't like talking politics because I don't agree with anything actually. So I just think it's strange. And look, if you guys have listened to Jordan Peterson or spoken with Jordan Peterson, I mean, I actually met him a couple months ago in Colorado Springs. I went to see him and we got to meet him, and it was great. And he gave a talk. And if you know what he teaches and how wonderful of a person he is through and through, and how smart he is, and how generous he is, and how just even he is. Anything that guy says, I take that as meaning a lot. So, and he's totally against all this stupid Patreon stuff because it's stupid.
But he hasn't been kicked off.
No, he hasn't been kicked off, but they're gonna start their own. See, he's building an alternative to Patreon because he's tired of it. It's just politics, man. And it's like people are just trying to do whatever they want to do, but then you have these companies who are deciding because something is a little leaning to the right and it's not politically correct to say certain things that they should be banned. I mean, and this whole farce of hate speech. You could be anything. You could cite 9 things I've said today as hate speech, probably. Right? So it's just stupid. It's all stupid. So anyway, I guess that's the political rant for the lounge. Okay. Steve Stewart, what is the What's Hot section of Apple Podcasts?
I don't know what it is in the app. I'm sure it's there somewhere, but I know in iTunes, it's one of the things that you'd find on the right-hand sidebar where they have the top podcasts, and it's kind of, well, no, it's actually, this is more like a new and noteworthy section. We've got that section. I better open up iTunes and take a look. Sorry for not being prepared. But yeah, there's a whole section saying what's hot, and I don't know exactly what causes that, but
right,
it's not a bad thing to be in there if you are.
Yeah, so anyway, they're asking, do ratings and reviews really help you get featured in what's hot? And yeah, I don't actually know about this. Well, actually, this is a bunch from Daniel J. Lewis as well. Wait, this whole thing is from Daniel J. Lewis, yeah. Although it's posted on the Pod News, so...
Okay. If you go into a subcategory, like I'm in business right now, top section is new and noteworthy, which has not been updated in... It's going to be going on 3 years here pretty soon. Then there's a what's hot section, which, surprise, Planet Money, Dave Ramsey, Jim Cramer, Beyond the To-Do List, Zig Ziglar... a lot of stuff that you've seen a million times before. I don't know really why this is even important. But what does Daniel J. Lewis say about it?
Well, I didn't have time to read it, but...
That's why we're here. Let's read it.
His theory based on data and observation is that while there probably are algorithms in place that cause a podcast to get Apple's attention, Apple still maintains 100% editorial control. That's his theory. So...
I can't disagree with that. I really can't.
Yeah.
Because Apple does have to position itself. It has to make it look good. It has to have the content in there that people might be looking for. I think we need to update it maybe a little more. I mean, what's hot, Dave Ramsey? I mean, I've been listening to Dave Ramsey on iPod since at least 2009. Probably even sooner than that. This is nothing new. What's hot? I want to see what's hot, what's new.
Right.
And if new and noteworthy isn't going to be updated, then let's update this thing, at least in the subcategories. And it didn't look like I had anything on the landing page. And again, I'm looking at iTunes on a desktop. Who listens to iTunes on their desktop? Nobody.
Yeah.
They're using smartphones.
Right, well, on the screen, they are showing a smartphone with the What's Hot section. And the Crazy Rabbit says, yeah, What's Hot equals click farms in India. Yeah, that's true. So I want to know, if you're watching this right now, and I also want Ralph Rivera to answer as well, and Steve Stewart, do you ever, in whichever app you're listening to podcasts on, if they recommend stuff, like for instance here, What's Hot, do you actually look through that? And do you like look through that and think, oh, let me see if there's anything good, or do you literally just ignore all those suggestions? Ralph?
I do sometimes go through but I don't do it at Apple. I do it inside of Pocket Casts. I will go through the recommended podcasts that they have. So I don't know where they pull that from. I don't know if they're pulling that from, they call it Discover. And if I go there, I usually get a lot of different podcasts, as opposed to if I do it on Apple, where a lot of the stuff is the same.
Got it. Steve?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, everyone in the chat is saying nope. All right, let's move on.
If anything, I'm doing some research by the recommended shows that are underneath the show I'm already looking at, which is probably one of my clients. And so I really am not the typical podcast consumer. I shouldn't be answering this question.
Got it. All right, well, Due Credit is a weekly digest of the best podcasts and newsletters for keeping up with the news. Actually, Pod News. So Pod News here on the top left, this is a great daily newsletter that I get. You all should just go sign up for it. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. But in here, they started also recommending this one called Due Credit, which I haven't gotten yet. I didn't even sign up for it yet. But yeah, so anyway, check that out. Podcoin. Oh God, it's another
get paid to listen
another
to podcasts?
Platform where it pays to listen. Yeah, get paid to listen. Easily earn rewards by listening to just about every podcast ever made. If you listen for 10 minutes, you get 1 Podcoin. And then if you have enough Podcoins, you can avail yourself of rewards. Like if you get 1200 Podcoin, you get a $2 Amazon card.
So what's their goal? Have you looked into what it is that they're trying to do? Are they just trying to drive people to their app, and then they're going to do some like with the apps, you have the in-app sales to things?
Yeah. Well, no,
What's
I think
their
it's just an app. They want you to listen in their app, but when you listen, you get rewards, which that's a lot. That's
What's
not
the
much
end game?
reward.
What's their end game then? Are they trying to make an app that somebody will eventually acquire, just like a startup is going to be acquired by a bigger company that, maybe Google wants to buy something? Is this the Google killer eventually? The iTunes killer?
I don't know, but I got to say, you got to listen to 1200 episodes to get a $2 gift card. That's not that's going to take me a while. That might take me years, and you're going to give me $2.
Yeah.
And I have to, to get headphones, it would take you if you listen to one a day, it would take you a long, long time to get these headphones. And those are the Bose headphones, Ralph. I think the ones you and I have.
Yeah, I'm wearing them right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I stopped wearing them because of the EMFs and the Bluetooth and all that.
Now, if this was a cryptocurrency, I'd be all in, but it doesn't look like that's the
Actually,
case.
that's what I was thinking when I heard it and I read it. Podcoin, it sounds like a crypto. So but it might be using blockchain technology on the back end, right? It might. I don't know.
So a lot of the reviews say that the app, people don't like the app. That it's not giving them. The one person says you can organize your podcasts that you follow. So if you have a long list you enjoy listening to, it takes forever to find what you want to listen to. Also, it would be nice if you could delete downloaded episodes. So apparently they're not creating a really good user experience. I don't know. I've never heard of this app until now.
All right.
I'm looking at the reviews.
Could they be collecting listener data to then be used against us? No, to be used for marketing and things like that. That I could see.
Well, the answer to that, I'll answer that one, even though I don't know the answer. The answer is yes, because anytime somebody's going to give you something for free or quote unquote pay you, you're the product. They don't care what you're listening to or how. They just want your data so that they can then capture that data and then analyze it and then figure out how to then chop that up and use it up in some future marketing.
Yeah, but we've seen that with Apple. They give us the great analytics, but we don't see them trying to pitch us anything other than hardware, and that just comes with the normal, the normal stuff they're trying to sell. It's not like they're putting an advertisement inside a podcast or something.
Yeah. So far, I haven't seen anything that says that they're putting ads in the podcast, but
they are putting ads in either before, after, or inside.
No. I say I haven't seen anything that says that they are actually doing that.
Right. It's interesting, though. I'd like to see where this goes because they've got a great name, and I wonder how they could be using some blockchain technology if they actually were.
Right.
Well, they've got 51 ratings on the App Store as of now.
Whoa. Maybe it's brand new. It must be brand new. 51 ratings is nothing. So, all right, let's move on. We'll keep an eye on Podcoin. All right, Podfest.
Yes.
Woo. I know we're all going. March 7th to the 9th in Orlando, Florida. I know I'm going to have a booth there. So is Ralph M. Rivera. And Steve Stewart, you'll be there, right?
I'm speaking. I get to speak this year.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Podcast Movement is also in Orlando in August. And I'll be there, too. And I'm actually going to be... This is breaking news. This is some serious breaking news I'm about to drop on you guys. See these tracks here? Conference tracks? See, here's the technical track. Podcast Engineering School will be sponsoring the technical track.
Nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
So that's going to be fun. And it's going to be good.
Hey, Chris.
So that's Podcast Movement. All right.
Quick note about Podcast Movement.
Yes.
2 things you need to know. Wear comfortable shoes. And make sure you take advantage of any off-site parties and Uber codes that they might provide you to get there.
Oh, hey now.
Yeah. This place is huge. The hotel actually is, and you really can't walk to some place without having to walk about a mile just to get to the road. It's really impressive.
Good. That'll be some good exercise for me. All right,
Yes.
Stu.
And of
Your
course,
steps
it's in
in.
Florida in the middle of August, so it'll be nice and cool.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, inside the hotel it is.
Ah.
Yeah, bring your jacket.
I heard outdoors is going to be brutal. All right, Stoop is apparently, I don't know much about this either. It was in Pod News, but it's like a podcast app, but for newsletters, so you can actually just get all your newsletters in one spot. I don't know how it works, and I don't even think I'm going to try it, but I just thought it was interesting. Because maybe it's a way to where you can just keep things a little more organized, right? If you are big into newsletters and stuff. So
like a Feedly or what Google Reader used to be?
yeah,
what you're saying?
see, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Stoop helps you discover, subscribe, and consume great content all in one place. Get
That's
those
what it is.
newsletters out of your inbox and onto your Stoop.
Okay.
So it
There you
sounds
go.
like it's for
Feedly. Yep.
it's built for content, not email. So I guess maybe the way it presents the information as well is maybe a little simpler than an email as well.
So, since I subscribe to Pod News and to the Podcast Business Journal, and you're telling me to subscribe to the other one, I could have it all go into Stoop. I don't have to have it go to my email.
Apparently,
Sweet.
but then there's trusting an algorithm with deciding what you. Oh no! Trusting an
why not?
algorithm with deciding what you read is like trusting a nutritionist who gets paid based on how many chips you eat. Start truly reading news again, because with Stoop, the news is just better. Oh boy! All right. Anyway,
Well, if it
that's
strips
Stoop,
out the ads, then I'm happy.
right? All right, Hank Williams. I recently watched a little documentary on Hank Williams. It was from 2000, so it wasn't a new documentary, but he wasn't around for very long. Like he literally wrote songs for like 7 years, and then he died. And he died when he was 29. So maybe he was writing songs for like, maybe 12 years. But apparently he was a drunk and wasn't very nice to a lot of people, and so yeah. So I didn't know that, but anyway, apparently he was also the first kind of singer-songwriter like that. Like where he wrote his own songs and he performed, and I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I'm not a big Hank Williams fan, but again, when I listened to that Broken Record episode with the 3 songwriters from Nashville, like I just looked. I was just watching TV or watching YouTube, and I watched a Hank Williams documentary. You guys have any response to that gibberish? Okay.
Nope.
All right, Noah. I saw the movie Noah. Did you guys see Noah?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I tried. We shut it off.
Yeah, we made it through, but yeah, it was a little rough at times, a little, I don't know. I don't even know how to critique it, but just, a little corny or unbelievable, or you know what I mean, like whatever. And but I don't know. We made it through, and the other thing that really gets me about anything to deal with stories from the Bible is like they always do it so literally, like everything is literal or mostly literal, and it's like,
Well, this wasn't a literal interpretation. It was more of
Not at all.
it factored into a lot of stuff, which they just actually when we were in Colorado Springs, Carolyn and I, we took you to the movie theater to see his last film, Mother,
yes,
which was also very much like Noah insofar as it was allegorical, that he took a biblical concept and then kind of stretched that concept into, his own kind of created narrative. I loved Mother. I didn't really care. I didn't think Noah was a particularly good movie. I thought it had really good production value. I thought it was creative in terms of the ideas that they came up with. It just didn't land for me.
Right.
But I really liked Mother. I know you didn't like Mother, Chris, but I really
no, I
loved it.
did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I watched it again. I forget where I watched it again. Maybe it was on Amazon Prime, and I watched it again. No, what I mean by literal in Noah was I mean literally with the ark, with 2 animals of each kind. I mean that's the literal. That's the story. That's literally the story. But
Yeah,
I don't.
He took he took like a couple of data points and then extrapolated, just like Chris Sullivan, I see in the chat, he said, not so literal, this one, quite a bit of creative license with this. And he's right. What they did is they basically took, like some key concepts. It's kind of like when you watch a movie and it says, based on real events. Whenever you see something that says based on real events, it has nothing to do with real events. It just, They took a couple of concepts and then they interwove a lot of fiction within it.
Right, I understand that. What you're saying is there's a story, and then they took creative license with the story. What I'm saying is the original story is not correct. It didn't happen that literally. Meaning Jesus walked on water. I don't think I don't think there was a human who walked on water. I think it was a story that he was teaching something. But what I'm saying is people take a lot of religious people take things absolutely literally, and what I'm saying is that I don't think all of them are that literal. That's my point. I'm not. It's beyond the movie. My point. So
right. Well, beyond that, I don't think Darren Aronofsky was. I don't think his intent was to make a literal translation of the Bible. This is as far from, for example, Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ, where he was trying to make something that was very, very hyper realistic to the original intent of the literature, as opposed to this in Noah, where they were just taking the ideas and then extrapolating from there.
Right.
For those of you just joining us, welcome to the Podcasters Lounge. We've already covered politics. Now we're getting to religion. Next we come up with sex.
That's right. I can hear those unsubscribe buttons being clicked as we speak.
Oh God.
Noah.
All right. Homecoming.
Speaking of cross-promoting a podcast within another feed, this is where I heard about Homecoming, is in Startup. They are playing how this is becoming a TV show. I haven't seen the show. I just heard about it becoming a television show. So what do you know about this, Chris?
By the way, Steve Stewart, I know you were making a joke, but as far as politics and religion, I just want to be clear with everyone. I'm not talking politics or religion. I'm just talking. So I had some thoughts about Jordan Peterson and Patreon. It's not political. Okay? And I have some thoughts about the Bible and spirituality. It's not religious. It's just me talking, okay?
I was just making a joke.
I know, but
sorry if I interrupt.
No. But that's a real point these days. Is you can't even touch something without everybody's all of a sudden thinking, "Oh God, oh my, oh." You know what I mean? What a shame. What a stupid, popular society we live in today. It's just retarded on 90 different levels. It's crazy.
Whoa! Watch that language.
Oh.
By the way, Homecoming Podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. One of the few podcasts that Carolyn, my wife, would not let me listen to unless we were listening to it together, because she wanted to make sure that she didn't miss any episodes. So we actually listened to the entire Homecoming Podcast together over, a couple of nights. I haven't seen the show yet, but the podcast was really quite exceptional.
Well, the show was really well done, but was the podcast nonfiction?
No, it's fiction. It's
fiction. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, good. I really liked it. So
I was really disappointed that they didn't bring some of the talent in that was on the podcast, because the podcast, the voices of the characters, they were big stars. I don't remember the name of the lead male protagonist, but he's the guy that played Poe Dameron in Star Wars. Does anybody know his name in the chat? The guy who played Poe Dameron in Star Wars. He was in Annihilation. I mean, he's a big, huge star, and I don't know why they wouldn't have had him reprise his role in Homecoming. They were so good at it.
Interesting, yeah. I liked it. I watched this on Amazon. It was well done, really well done. Interesting story, too. Coffee. Do you guys drink coffee? I used to drink coffee, but the last 2 days I've been switching over to tea, and I'm liking it.
What kind of tea are you drinking, Chris Curran?
Actually, some of what you sent me, Simpson and Vale, but I also my favorite is Orogia Tea. This is my friend's tea shop in her tea shop in Connecticut, and she goes to China every year and picks out the tea leaves, and it's really like it's literally like tea leaves. So it's like all different green tea. Why can't I? What the? Oh yeah, green tea, white tea, oolong tea, black tea, herbal tea. So it's good. But anyway, I wanted to start. This year, 2019 for me is gonna be. I haven't even told Ralph. I haven't even told you, and you and I are actually like friends. I mean, in real life. I haven't even told you what I'm planning for 2019, but it's like I really kind of made the decision that I'm gonna focus and not only focus, but like kind of like Gary V it, like just literally go all out for the whole year. And I know that's a big, that's like crazy to even think like that and talk like that, but anyway, I could talk more about that if you're interested, but I don't know. I stopped drinking coffee, started drinking tea. All right, let's move on then.
You know what's funny? I remember hearing Alex Lindsay on one of Leo Laporte's shows over a decade ago talking about the benefits of drinking tea. He was addicted to it. So this is not exactly news. I think it's something that we don't hear a lot about, though, is because tea is better for your vocal cords, I think, than coffee. All right? Caffeine's not good for you. We've heard that before. Tea's definitely good for you, I think.
Well, some tea can have quite a bit of caffeine. Some usually less than coffee, though. And the other thing about coffee is it's acidic. And
yes.
And one thing I will say is my wife's father, who is still living in India, he's old. He's like 86 or 87, I think. He was a veterinarian his whole life, and he told my wife, I don't know when, maybe when they were growing up, or I don't even know when, right? But he told her, basically, that coffee is not that good for you, but he said you can drink as much tea as you want. So, just the basic idea that like tea is a little more natural, a little less destructive, and you could still get all the caffeine you want. In fact, from Orogia, I just ordered. What did I order? It was I can't remember the name of it. It's a certain kind of tea that has the most amount of caffeine. Anyway, so all right, let's move on. Anyway, yeah. So 2019 is going to be a big year for me. Maybe I'll maybe this isn't the right time for me to talk about it. Google.
You've already told us you're sponsoring Podcast Movement. I mean, that's huge.
Well, that's true.
That's huge, dude.
I know it's Podcast Movement's going to be fun. So is Podfest and NAB. NAB is going to be crazy too. With the Podcast Pavilion in NAB in April. Anyway, Google Fi now officially supports iPhone and more Androids than before.
Actually, I just realized I don't even know if I booked my hotel for NAB. Did we book our hotel for NAB? Nope.
The Westgate. Yeah. Anyway, I don't really know much about Google Fi. If you guys don't know too much, we could just move on.
I don't. I'd like to know more.
Yeah, I think it's like it's almost like instead of going through Verizon or these other T-Mobile and stuff, I think you can just get it through Google Fi, and now they actually, yeah.
Is this the gigabyte feed going into like Kansas City, where they've got the fastest internet in the world?
No, that's Google Fiber.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
couple more, another syllable.
Let's move on. Anyway, I bought some Christmas gifts. I bought a couple from this place. I think they're okay.
I just got something from somebody. A client sent me a gift packet with a whole bunch of chocolate from them. It was awesome.
Ah, sweet. I actually also got a gift from a client, and this was it. This is a game.
Oh man,
called Mixtape. And we didn't play it yet, but it's a game called Mixtape. I got that, and I also bought Sushi Go because I heard these guys talk about it on the Oh God, I can't remember the name of the show. This is an actual podcast that I actually listen to from time to time. I don't listen to many podcasts. Oh yeah, Coffee House Blunders. Coffee House Blunders is a podcast, and one of the co-hosts is Danny Wrench, and he works at chess.com. And so he does a lot of streaming for chess.com, and he does this show with this other guy, Motz. And it's not all about chess. It's just a show about anything and everything, right? But Danny Wrench and Motz both mentioned Sushi Go as that it was a really cool game. So I actually I bought it because sometimes we, not too often, but sometimes we have people over and we play some board games and stuff. I mean, we're not partiers anymore. Not like Ralph M. Rivera. And I also got Solitaire Chess. Actually, I had this one for a while. I've been playing it. It's not chess. It's like a little different, but there's like puzzles. But it's pretty cool. You guys play any board games or anything?
Settlers of Catan.
Oh, really?
I want to play Settlers. I've got the board game here, but my family is not into it.
Yeah, there you go. It's a great game. It's a fantastic game. We actually own the that box set right there. I don't know how much you'd pay for that. $20, $30 at any store. We actually own the wooden version of it. It was like a couple of $100. It comes in this beautiful wooden case, and all the pieces are carved out of wood. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful set, and we just love the game so much that we got the set.
Oh my God, Quasi Rabbit just said Pit. I played Pit when I was like 7 years old. That game was awesome.
Wow.
Nobody talks about this game Pit, and is it still around?
I never even heard of it. By the way, Chris Sullivan says green tea is good stuff, and green tea's awesome, man. I love green tea, and Sandy drinks hot tea in the wintertime in the morning. You can't do that in the summer, though. Interesting, Sandy. And Brandon.
Hey Sandy, shoot me an email later. I'll send you a little Simpson and Vale care package. Just shoot me an email. Also, Brandon Gonzalez, he said tea is amazing, but my coffee isn't going away ever. And one thing I will note about both tea and coffee is you have to brew them correctly, because with tea you can go wrong a lot more ways than you can go right. If you're not brewing the right temperature or the right time, you can really burn it or make it more acidic, and the same thing with coffee. I actually bought a course on how to make a really good cup of coffee using a Chemex, and it was like $25 online, and it was so worth the money because they really get into how to properly prepare a good cup of coffee, and I loved it. Let me see if I can find it while you're talking.
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. I'm sure all you guys are on LinkedIn. Do you guys do anything on LinkedIn? Because I got on years ago, and then I signed up for this list. I paid $50 to get on the list, and now all of a sudden, like a bajillion people asked me to be their friend or connect or whatever, and I just always say yes. So now I literally have over 20,000 contacts.
Holy moly.
But I don't do anything on here. Do you guys use LinkedIn?
I think LinkedIn is starting to come into its age right now, and they're definitely doing a push on groups. I did create a LinkedIn Podcast Editors Club. There's not a lot going on there, but I'm going to be using it as another way to reach out to other podcast editors and engineers, audio engineers, and we can talk more about the gear and stuff in that group versus, I got my control on the Facebook group where we don't talk gear, we only talk post-production. So I think LinkedIn's going to be, it's been around for, 15 years now? I think there's a reason for it to be around, and it's more on the professional side than just having conversations about whatever on Facebook.
Right? Yeah, I think it's definitely been around for a long, long time.
But you have 20,000. How many people can you possibly know? Could you ever know 20,000 people?
No, I don't know any of them. I know a few people that I know, but the point is that, well, look, I'm not saying it's correct. In fact, these days, I mean, ever since then, I was wondering, like, is it doing me any good? And the answer is really no. So I do agree that it's not. I won't say it's a dumb move, but it didn't do me any good, and I don't usually do things that way now anyway. So.
Or maybe it will. I mean, if people see you if you're not doing anything on LinkedIn, then it's not doing you any good. But if you're active, I don't think it's like Facebook where it's going to show your activity to somebody. But, it's just like top of mind awareness with anything. If people see you in places, they're going to recognize you after a few times and get to know who you are from the interactions that you have. So LinkedIn can be that place where, you're not going to get the average Facebook member. You're going to have somebody who might be looking at this stuff for more career-oriented business-type stuff.
Right.
So it may not hurt you. It's just how much time do you want to commit to it? It sounds like you're committing 0, so it's not going to do any good for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like, I wouldn't mind doing something, and if I knew what to do, really. But anyway, this is the Podcast Editors Club. If you're watching this and you're not a member, well, I guess you should also be a podcast editor or producer or engineer to be part of this club. Although I guess you could just be. Did you just let anyone in, Steve Stewart, who's the founder of this group and the moderator?
They have 2 questions they must answer properly, but they're easy. If you do any kind of podcast editing, whether it's for yourself or others, you'll be able to answer them, and that will get you in.
Okay, there you go. And even regular podcasters who do their own show, they could answer it and get in, right?
I would say that's the majority of people in there right now. We got over 3,300 members. Not all of them are editing for other people, I can tell you that.
There you go.
Hey, can I go back to the LinkedIn thing for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So 2 things. First of all, that coffee video that I mentioned before, I posted it in the chat. So if anybody's a coffee drinker, you should check that out. Regarding LinkedIn, I think that where I land on this is if you're going to have a LinkedIn account, just make sure it's accurate and current. Because if you have a LinkedIn account that doesn't say what you do, doesn't have any information about what value you can present to your subscribers or customers or partners or manufacturers, whatever business line you're in, if your LinkedIn account is wrong, then that's bad. If your LinkedIn account is right, but you don't ever use it, that's not terrible because there are certain SEO value that you can kind of derive from having a well done LinkedIn account. So if you have a LinkedIn account, just don't make it be wrong.
Nice.
I would say it's also a good place to be if someone's looking to hire you. They're going to be doing some research. Now, this is going to be somebody outside of your normal circles. So I don't know how much you want to dig into somebody who has no idea who you are. But if you are trying to grow a big business in podcast production or hit some of those more professional business type people, having an accurate listing definitely makes sense on LinkedIn.
And Sandy says,
it's just
yeah.
I say it's like a business card.
Ah, right. So Sandy says she's going to really, in 2019, she's going to really figure out LinkedIn and try to use it really well.
Sandy, join the group on LinkedIn. Podcast Editors Club on LinkedIn. I don't know how you find it. It's just there somewhere.
Oh, really? Am I part of that?
Probably not. I just started it maybe a month ago.
I'm the best speller.
And apparently, let's scroll down. Maybe it's down below all the people.
Club Med?
Scroll down. I don't know how you find it then. Maybe it's editors as far as hyphenated.
So we're actually kind of in the end of the lounge. I mean, I don't know how to. Well, anyway.
Editors with the apostrophe S. Try that.
Well, we got to finish our news, Chris.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, I think we might have.
I see more tabs there. Did we miss anything?
Yeah, I don't see it.
Here, I'll put it. I don't have.
See, this is the one thing I really don't like about LinkedIn is that it just. Everything on LinkedIn seems not to be that intuitive and sort of a pain in the ass. like where stuff is. I mean, my God.
You know what the problem is, Chris?
Oh.
LinkedIn is at its best when you're not just openly accepting all of the connections. Because what happens is there's some, magical juju magic that's happening under the hood, where LinkedIn is going to try to connect you to the best possible connections based on what it knows about you and what it knows about them. But when you're just, and by the way, I do the same thing too, so I'm blaming myself as much as anybody. If you have just tons and tons of connections, and they're all different kinds of industries and all different kinds of businesses, then LinkedIn becomes a lot less graceful about how it connects you to other people.
Right, but I agree, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about literally I tried to find Steve's group and I couldn't. And literally, if I wanted to change something in my profile, or if I wanted to change something in one of the groups I started, literally it takes me like 5 minutes to poke around and find. I'm just saying that the whole, and many other people have said this, that the user interface in LinkedIn is not the best, right? It's just, and I think it's because it's so powerful. There's so much there. That's why. It's because it's so great. It's Oh, that's in the song. Weird.
Yeah.
All right.
I sent you a link to the group inside of the Skype chat, but I don't know if you can get to it or not.
Oh, let me let me see if I can click it. Oh, I couldn't see the Skype chat.
That's cool.
Before.
We're not using it except for this one thing.
Well, look, I click. Oh, wait. There it is.
Ta-da!
Request to join. All right. Anyway, so there it is. Podcast Editors C, no apostrophe.
Oh, you're right.
Podcast Editors Club. Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, yeah, no, the rest of the tabs are stuff we already talked about. Two Guys Talking Network, Podcast Bug. We talked about, Tangentially Speaking. Right?
Great podcast.
Yeah. This is that. Here's the Fed head. No, this is all stuff that I brought up. Yeah, so... Oh, and I'm not even showing this on the screen. People are still just seeing us three, so...
I'm seeing Malcolm Gladwell.
I think... Well, you are, but not the stream. Right, so anyway, so let's wrap it up, just so you know. I mean, you probably already know that all this is brought to you by Podcast Engineering School, which is, if you ever want to learn how to engineer and produce podcasts at a professional level, that's what I do. And if you wanted, Steve Stewart started the Podcast Editors Club. Go join his group, be friends with him, pick his brain, see him at Podfest and Podcast Movement. And of course, Ralph M. Rivera has... Actually, Ralph, you got a couple exciting things coming soon. So that's all.
Yeah.
Coming soon. So that's it. So I think let's punch out. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us.
Sound great.
Nah, it ain't gonna happen. 190%. Something from out of ancient times. Big mouth. Lot of teeth.
All right. That's it. Thank you, Ralph M. Rivera. Thank you, Steve Stewart. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. The Crazy Rabbit, Sandy DeWald, Chris Sullivan, everybody. I can't name you all. Brandon Gonzalez. Thank you all for coming to hang out. This has been a lot of fun. It's the first time with three of us just hanging out for a while, but this was a lot of fun. So thank you, guys. This is awesome. We'll see you next Wednesday. If you ever have questions or you need help, seriously, just ask me, and hopefully I can help you, especially if it comes down to production, like audio production. That's where I'm most helpful. So, all right. Well, thank you, guys. We'll punch out. We'll see you all next week. Adios. Yes.